This is where we come in as lawyers, really.
Right.
Right. Because up until now, we're really talking about, how do you protect yourself on your own? And look, find a good broker, speak to that broker, make sure that broker understands your business, and then double check, right? Double check in writing. Hey, this covers what I do, right? Right. Right.
Do you suggest in that situation, the medical advice, right? Of getting a second opinion. Is there an opportunity for that, or I'm sure insurance brokers are like, no, you don't need a second opinion. I'll get it right the first time.
So yes and no. I don't know exactly how the brokerage business works, and so there are situations where if one broker quotes you on a policy, another broker might be prevented from quoting you on a policy for some period of time unless they go through completely different channels.
Yep.
And so you might want to get a second opinion, but I think it's almost just as good to go back to that broker in writing and say, hey, just to be clear, this is what we do.
Sure.
This is what we need coverage for. I'm not an expert at reading this 100-page policy. Can you please confirm that we have this?
Right. And make sure that it's covered. But in that situation, I just want to hammer this down because I imagine there's a lot of nuance there, because brokers are going to be able to say, like, I only know about your business what you told me about your business, right? And I can predict certain things, but I'm not going to be able to predict everything, right? That's your responsibility as a business owner to ask those questions. And so there's got to be, unfortunately, that gray area where, we excluded this because how could I predict that your ice cream truck business was going to need a advertising errors and admissions policy for your 49th employee that disparaged Rita's,
Right.
it's gotta at some point become.
Yes. And I agree. It would become too onerous. And I don't think that we're talking to those extreme cases here.
Right.
I think what we're talking to is make sure that your insurance coverage covers your core business.
Yes.
Right. So you shouldn't be a funeral home with mortuary exclusion. You shouldn't be. Right. Or you shouldn't be a cemetery company that doesn't cover emotional distress damages because that's all you're going to do is if somebody has an issue with a burial, it's emotional distress.
That's the pain you've caused.
That's the pain. You're not causing them physical harm. Right. And so, it might cause physical harm if, the emotional distress leads to nightmares and sleeplessness or whatever it may be. But generally speaking, your slip and fall coverage is not going to apply to the issues that you might have if you can't bury somebody in their intended location.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And so make sure you have that coverage.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think everybody listening to this and watching this right now, if you own a business, probably best practice is to go shoot your broker an email if you already have insurance. If you're planning on getting insurance, make sure to follow these best practices.